Trump reacts to FBI taking some documents covered by attorney-client privilege. Oh, great. Former President Donald Trump reacted to exclusive reporting from Fox News that some of the documents taken in an FBI raid on his... And let me enlarge it for y'all real fast. Okay, you guys should read that now. Okay, were covered by attorney-client privilege Sunday, which we talked about earlier with Rudy Giuliani. Trump commented on the news on his Truth Social site, requested that the documents be returned. Fox News first reported on Saturday that attorney-client privilege documents had been seized. Oh, great. It has just been learned that the FBI in its now famous raid of Mar-a-Lago took boxes of privileged attorney-client material and also executive privilege material, which they knowingly should not have taken, Trump wrote. By copy of this truth, I respectfully request that these documents be immediately returned to the location for which they were taken. Thank you. Oh, man. Okay.
Is there something that can be done about that? Like if they get access to something that isn't the attorney-client privilege? Other than just requesting for the documents to get back?
Can they take anything from it?
I mean, like the person who had this violated, like this privilege violated, what can they do? Like, can you like?
Oh, they can't use it against him. They can't use it against him criminally, and then yeah, he could potentially come back after the government with a civil suit if he wanted to. Yeah, if it was like egregious, for sure. Okay, so let's see here. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so they pinned this. Okay, Senator. Okay, calls for the repeal of the Espionage Act. No, that's not relevant to that. Okay.
Over the past 40 years, 10,000 animals have been killed in very strange ways.
It's the greatest unsolved crime spree in history.
Fucking ads.
Originals, cattle mutilations, streaming now.
The hell? Who cares about cows, bro?
General Merrick Garland talk about the search warrant. He said that he signed it personally. Let's listen to this.
I personally approved the decision to seek a search warrant. Second,
that is the that's the Attorney General for the United States, by the way, guys. All right, who is the chief law enforcement officer in the United States. All right.
The department does not take such a decision lightly.
He says they don't take the decision lightly, yet there was such an escalation here, right? President Trump says there was cooperation. He was handing things over. He was working with the agents that were in charge of this case, yet they went from 0 to 60 within the matter of weeks.
That's right.
Your take on where we are right now?
You know, Jackie, I think he was goaded into saying that he reviewed it personally because we went through several days where the coverage of it was as if he was a spectator, as if he was a passenger on the ship, not the captain of the ship, which the Attorney General is supposed to be. So I think a lot of his statement the other day was theater in that regard to correct that impression. Ultimately, I think he's going to be sorry he said that he personally reviewed this warrant.
Yeah, I agree. Because he probably didn't. He probably looked at it to some degree, but you know, he's gonna leave that to the the United States Attorney's Office, guys. That's what he's gonna that's what he's gonna do, because at the end of the day, he's so high up that it's like it is what it is, right? And then also, guys, do me a favor, go ahead and like the goddamn video. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and start reviewing the search warrant as well here very soon. And the reason why I'm going through line by line, breaking down number one, who Donald Trump is, what a search warrant is, the search of Mar-a-Lago, talking about what happened in Cincinnati, etc., is that so that when I read the search warrant for y'all, it's going to make sense, which I'm going to pull that up here in a second, right after this.
Because, we're talking a lot about the classified information.
Three Digless goes, $100 save the cows. Thank you so much. Oh, man. I see some of you guys are saying free Assange. I was actually watching a documentary on him. The UK is going to turn him over, guys. He's definitely going to come to the United States and face some pretty serious charges. Kwame Hayes, $5. I put Christ first and the rest don't matter. 2A on me. Run up. I'm going to blast you. Going ultra MAGA. Yeah, I mean, hey, man, Second Amendment is a beautiful thing, isn't it? So that's what it's about.
Information aspect of it. This warrant is so open-ended and it so defies the Fourth Amendment's requirement that a warrant specifically describes the things that the agents are allowed to seize. This is a general warrant. This is basically what we have the Fourth Amendment to prevent. Mm-hmm. It's so, I mean, you just mentioned before, every shred of paper that was generated by the Trump administration can be collected under this warrant. It doesn't have to have an iota of connection to.
Okay, so this is where he's kind of wrong, and I'll tell you why. We don't have the affidavit. Right. So since we don't have the affidavit, we don't know exactly what led them to say what they wanted, all right, in their in what
Fox
they're
Nation
looking for.
presents two
And this is
Out of
why
This
it's so
World
important.
Series streaming alien abduction.
What the fuck, these fucking ads. This is why it's so important, guys, to be able to look at the affidavit, because the affidavit will tell you exactly, number one, the facts of the case, and it's also going to tell you why they believe that there's going to be evidence of a certain crime at a location and what they're looking for. But since we don't have the affidavit, we don't know the basis for which they're trying to get these documents. Okay. So I get what he's saying. Like, he's saying, oh, it's a very open-ended warrant, etc. But the reason why the FBI can write it in an open-ended way like that is because classified documents need to be held and stored in a certain way. So their argument is, we're looking for anything that's classified. So that in itself makes it easy because it's not a government building, Mar-a-Lago. Okay. But we don't have enough information because we don't have the affidavit. Which,
Fox Nation presents two Out of
my
This.
little conspiracy theory here is that I think, and here, I'll play this stupid ass ad while I, okay. My personal thing on it, right? My little conspiracy theory on this is, I think that what's going to happen is the affidavit is going to reveal that there was probably an informant or someone close to Trump that provided this information. That's what I think this is going to reveal.
I personally approved the
Let me
decision to seek a
move
search
forward.
Maybe it was marked, maybe it wasn't. But essentially, that attorney would be putting his entire career reputation.
And if you look at the warrant, they not only were able to take every shred of paper, the way this worked was, if they found a box that had one low-level classified document in it, they were able to take the whole box, its contents, and any boxes that were next to the box. So there was no limitation on this whatsoever. It's not about classified information.
Well, the reason why, again, is because classified information should not be at a private residence. That's why they were able to take everything. You know, I'm trying to be objective here. Like I said, you guys know I like Trump, but the reason why they're able to take everything is because classified documents are not supposed to be. I don't know why they keep doing this shit. Classified documents are not supposed to be at a private residence. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and play this thing all the way through and then react to it after, guys, because I can already tell that Fox News is on some bullshit right now. We keep trying to play ads. So let me fast forward to where we were before. Okay.
Andy, I want to start with you first because
And then we'll just let it play all the way through.
All about America. That this guy would be the one who.
And I'll pause it every now and then just so we don't get hit with the copyright.
Unbelief, I think, even for Democrats. But to your point, and to Andy's point as well, this search warrant was so broad. It said in the warrant, this is indicative of what they were actually looking for. It says, all physical documents and records constituting evidence, contraband, and fruits of a crime. Now, if you want to go after classified information, they could have specified classified information. They didn't. They're looking for fruits of a crime. So what does that mean, Jackie? It means that this is really an extension of the January 6th hearings. They're looking for more evidence of crimes for Donald Trump. And this is the umbrella in which they're doing it, saying it's classified information. Donald had secret information in regard to nuclear weapons. We're going to use that pretense to get information to try to convict him in regard to something else. And it's so broad-based. One last point. Mm-hmm. It's not just boxes. They can get pieces of paper. They could look in teacups all throughout his house, little crannies and nooks all over the house they could search, because that's where Donald Trump could have stashed one little slice of paper that could have been top secret, and therefore they can search it. They had carte blanche in this whole house.
Right. And we also have a soundbite from John Solomon.
But that's for almost anything, even for drugs. If you have a search for like a drug search warrant, you can search in every nook and cranny. So you can search anywhere where that potential evidence can be. Okay. So, I mean, that wasn't really a good argument by that guy.
And he's talking about how Trump's office essentially said that he had a standing order that the documents taken to his residence were declassified. Let's listen.
This is from President Trump's office. It just came in a few minutes ago. President Trump, in order to prepare the work the next day, often took documents, including classified documents, to the residence. He had a standing order that documents removed from the Oval Office and taken to the residence were deemed to be declassified. The power to classify and declassify documents rests solely with the President of the United States. The idea that some paper-pushing bureaucrat with classification authority delegated by the President needs to approve the declassification is absurd.
Tammy.
That is true. The president does reserve the right to classify documents as he wishes. Okay, that is an authority that the president enjoys. So he's right with that one.
Your reaction?
Well, I think that that speaks to kind of the heart of the matter here, right? Is that people can't forget that Donald Trump was the president. Someone like Hillary Clinton was not the president. Sandy Berger was not the president. Everyone else does not fall under this framework. What I think they don't want to admit, maybe can't stand, is that Donald Trump was the most powerful man in the world, and he was the decision maker. And so I think these arguments are going to come down to that kind of a push about whether or not you can deem something that way that's still stamped, that it's not classified, if there's some paper pushing that needs to happen or things need to be crossed out. If that's our argument, this was.
Oh, this fucking clown. Bro, you're not even covering this shit. You just go over Trump's defense. I've said both negative and positive things about Trump on this show. Did you just tune in, bro? Are you just tune in?
Stupid.
The fuck, man. God damn, man. We're covering this thing objectively, my friend. If you don't like it, get the fuck out of here. Like I'll never understand people that don't like.
We have to remember,
If you don't like the content, get the fuck out of here.
Let them waste their time.
that this warrant was approved, I believe, 3 days before the raid. So full 72 hours seems like not so urgent at some point with that regard. But also remember, I think it was the day before he was set to go into the New York Attorney General's office for a deposition regarding another issue. Within 90 days of an election, it seems like so many things happening so conveniently as a distraction in some sense of like.
It is a weird time for this to be happening. I ain't gonna lie, because this stuff with these documents have been going back on it for a while.
Piling on. And the American people notice this. This becomes the issue for the FBI is legitimacy and how much this piles on to what we've been dealing with for the past 7 years. And we're noticing that he has not been affected so much before. And even the Democrats have noticed that unless this was some huge smoking gun, this was too much.
I'm going to read a little bit from the Espionage Act because it was included in the warrant. And it reads specifically, whoever being entrusted with or having lawful possession or control of any document, writing, code book, signal book, sketch, photograph, photographic negative, blueprint, plan, map, model, note, or information relating to the national defense through gross negligence permits the same to be removed from its proper place of custody or delivered to anyone in violation.
And this is 18 USC 793, guys. You can see it's extremely broad. It's ran that way for a reason. Okay, so that they can go ahead and go after traitors
of his trust or to be list, stolen, abstracted, destroyed, or shall be punished by a fine of not more than $10,000 or by imprisonment for not more than 2 years or both. Andy.
No. Well, look, that sounds like it covers everything, right? And the warrant covers everything, so we got everything covered. They are not going to prosecute him on the Espionage Act. And I would again point out that there were 3 statutes that are cited in the warrant. 2 of them have nothing to do with classified information.
And we're going to talk about those 2 statutes that are in the warrant here in a second when I pull it up.
It's just government records. So I think the objective here was to gather as much information as they could. They used, when I say pretextual, I'm not saying that they lied to get the warrant, but they had the excuse of going in to get the classified information. So they exploited it to get everything.
Exactly.
So if they went in and they found something else that they deemed to be in the commission of another crime, it wasn't necessarily with respect to these documents, they could take it. They could use their judgment at that point and take it.
The law says that. So, for example, if the agents go in and they are looking for crime A and they see obvious evidence of crime B, if I go in on a gun case and I see a pile of narcotics on the table, I can take the narcotics. I'm not required to turn them.
And that's called right to B, right to C, guys. So plain view doctrine. Okay, so like the many times where I did search warrants myself, you'd go in looking for something, and then you see, evidence of another crime. Well, you're able to go ahead and seize that other evidence because you were lawfully there at the residence. So therefore, now anything that you see, right, because you're lawfully there, right to B means right to C. You can go ahead and add charges to it. That's how they're able to get Young Thug, right, on those gun charges, etc. when they went ahead and raided his house, because they found that there were other violations there. Even though they went there on one type of violation, they're able to go ahead and they were able to go ahead and oh my God, this fucking shit. They were able to go ahead and get other fruits of another crime. Okay.